Alright, hello, this is Alan. I'm here and I'm going to show you the mechanics behind my level entitled The Forsaken Temple. You can find it online by typing in LBC1-The Forsaken Temple in the search section. So anyway, first complicated bit about this level is the entrance. It's pretty simple when you play through it. However, to make it all work, there's all this crap. So it starts off with this switch that the mouth on the wall tells the player to stand on, and that activates a sensor switch right here by the player's proximity to the actual button. It's like a custom button, just so that it fits the mood a little better. And this sensor switch activates a piston underneath this button, and when this magnetic key is close to this magnetic switch, it activates this permanent switch back here. There's plenty of these online, and you can easily figure out how to make your own permanent switch. I can cover that later on. That activates this permanent switch, which is set to directional, and that activates this motor here, which spins this around and opens up this little alcove here. And this actual object is available in the campaign mode in one of the last levels. You'll see it frequently used there. I just changed all the materials to stone to match the background. Also, when this magnetic key approaches this switch, it activates this sound. It activates this sound, the metal impact. Small things like that really help bring your level to a believable, bring it to life in a more advanced way. So then, once that is all open, here I'll show you the procedure. Player steps on the switch, activates that all, bam, open. Now, the player will have access to this little star-shaped key, and on every point of this key is a little magnetic key, and that way, no matter which direction you put this key into the hole, it'll activate the next section. Now when that key gets into this hole, which is easily denoted by the star behind it, it activates this switch, which activates this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. That's to kind of create a slowing ability, kind of slows down the speed at which this gate will actually fall down, but it also kind of adds to effect of making the level seem a little more complicated than it really is. Kind of like an old, standard kind of temple feel to it, with all these switches activating. So this switch activates this one, activates this one, activates this one, and the last switch activates this dissolved material underneath this big block of stone, and that just makes the stone fall into place correctly. I'll show you that right now. Everything works perfectly. Now, I didn't want players to be taking the little key with them throughout the rest of the level, so I made sure to make the key out of dissolved material. And when the last switch is activated, it also dissolves the key, so they don't have to. I don't have to worry about them getting to areas that I didn't want them to get to. Now, onward. This is pretty simple. It's just an elevator that uses a sensor switch and pistons to bring the player up when they get close. Over here is a secret little green spot, which early in the level the player is told that green spots hide secrets. So when the player grabs that, it activates a sound. The sound is Magic Blast. Kind of hard to hear, but It sounds like points falling, so that's why I chose it. And there's like a secret little spot right here with points hiding behind it. So when the player grabs on here, points fall down right there to an easily accessible spot. Now they can't be picked up right now because it's in dev mode, but that all, works fine. This is just a spinning circular thing. I'm sure you can figure that out yourselves. This part here was actually very difficult to make. You can't really see what's going on because I actually discovered a trick to hide it all, but basically, if you look, there are pistons pushing up and down, and they're all set to loose. They're not stiff because I found that if they were stiff, they'd start knocking into each other and causing them all to, become destroyed. So they push up and down at variable rate. You can kind of see it creates two alternating waves, and that drives these rocks, these stones behind. And then there's stones in front that are glued onto the ones behind them. And from there, I cut out a path that allowed the player to go this way, then this way, and then down to here. But I discovered that you can actually put something on the level, the layer in between two sections pretty easily, and that'll actually cover up the background while allowing objects to still be glued together. In a real environment, that would not be physically possible, but in Little Big Planet it is. So you can see, okay, you can see that now none of that is visible, and the player just only sees these magical floating pillars. So then they approach here, and here is also surprisingly complex gate. What happens is the player grabs onto here, and it lowers that whole thing. The way this works is this gate here is attached to a sprung bolt, which will always make the gate attempt to move back to its original position. But that's attached to this winch, which will pull it down. Now, this whole thing works by, when the player grabs this, it activates a piston, which is back here, and that pushes this thing down, this little lever, and then the rest is done by magnetic switches. The magnetic switches activate the winch and make everything work just as planned. So this pull switch is driven by a piston which falls at the rate of a natural player falling, so it actually seems like there's nothing too magical behind it. As you can see, that's what happens over time. And if the player lets go, it all stops and it goes back to where it was. Now, this switch also activated something that there was a little block here that the player had to push out of the way. That was made of dissolved material, and I didn't want players to get stuck there later on, so I have that become dissolved when the players get down here. Eventually the player will go around back here, up through here, and continue.